In this video, I'm going to talk about rundowns and I'm going to give tips on what makes a rundown successful. Our main goal when doing a rundown is to, one, get the runner out, and we want to get that runner out in 2 throws or less. So the first tip is we want to push the runner back to where she came from. So let's say this runner takes off in between 2nd and 3rd and she gets caught. We want to push her back to where she came from. So let's say we don't get the runner out. She's safe at 2nd base, no harm done. She's back where she started. What we don't want is to have her advance to 3rd and we don't get it out. So we always want to push that runner back to where she came from. Because we want to push the runner back to where she came from, our next tip is we should be running at the runner. So I'm going to use the example of pitcher getting the ball in the circle, and she's going to see that this runner is about halfway in between 2nd and 3rd. The pitcher is going to kind of take an angle at that runner to make sure she's pushing her back again to where she came from. What the pitcher shouldn't be doing is fielding the ball, and if the runner is halfway, the pitcher shouldn't be fielding and throwing immediately back to 2nd base, because you're going to give that advantage to the runner and she's going to take off for 3rd and probably be safe. So when you are getting the ball and you see that that girl is in rundown, start to run at her. Like I said in the beginning of this video, our goal is to get that runner in less than 2 throws. So we don't want to be too early with our throw and we don't want to be too late. For me, a good rule of thumb is when that runner is about 5 or so steps away from that bag, it's safe to go ahead and throw the ball, because you're going to give that defender enough time to catch and tag. If we wait until that runner is about 2 to 3 steps from that bag to let go of that ball, that runner is going to be safe. You also don't want to throw it too soon, because like I said, if you get that ball and this runner is about 10, 12 steps away, you throw it, she's got a great advantage to advance that next bag. The next tip is when you are running at the runner, keep the ball in your throwing hand. And you're going to kind of keep it in this position like you're about to throw a dart. What we don't want is to keep the ball in our glove while we run, because one, it's going to take too long to get the ball out to throw when it's ready, and the other thing is you need to give the person receiving the ball the opportunity to see the ball. So when you are running at the runner, you're going to keep your throwing hand in a position like you're about to throw a dart. So your arm is going to be like in an L shape here. The other thing with that is do your best not to fake the throw so much. I know we want to do that because we think we are going to trick that runner, which yes, we will trick the runner a lot, but the person receiving the ball, especially because you're getting close to that receiver, is kind of getting defensive and like, I don't know when she's going to throw it. Is it going to be to my chest? And when you're doing this, you know, that defender is kind of moving all around. So do your best, and maybe I say if you want to fake it once. After that, try and keep that ball right here. So it's a lot easier to throw and you're going to be a lot more accurate. The next tip is to pick a clear throwing lane. So the person who has the ball and is running at the runner and the person who is receiving the ball, those 2 players should be lined up in a straight line away from the runner. So let's say the runner is just running straight in the baseline. We don't want to be directly behind her. So you want to pick either a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. Now the person receiving the ball, you don't want to be too far to the left or too far to the right, because you're going to be away from the bag. So make sure you're staying close around that area, but you got to give both partners a clear throwing lane so when you throw the ball, it doesn't hit the runner. Next tip is to close the gap. Like I said, our goal is to push that runner back to where she came from. So I'm going to use the example of a runner stuck in between 2nd and 3rd. Pitcher gets the ball. The girl receiving the ball at 2nd base, she's going to be on the bag, because like I said, our goal is to push that runner back, so that girl receiving the ball should be around the base so they can just catch and tag that runner out. Now let's say that pitcher throws the ball too soon. So let's say the runner is like a quarter of the way, half of the way, the pitcher decides to throw it to 2nd. Well, that runner is going to go ahead and take off to 3rd. 2nd baseman or whoever's at 2nd is going to catch the ball and they're going to start to run at that runner. That person at 3rd who is receiving the ball is going to be closing the gap. So they're going to be running up, making sure they're staying behind the runner. You don't want to run up too much because that runner can go around you. So like I said, try and stay behind the runner so when that girl who has the ball and is throwing it, you can catch it and you're going to be very close to that runner to where, let's just say she takes off 2 to 3 steps, you run after her, you're going to be able to tag her out. So start to close the gap and again, push that runner back to that base that she came from. Last tip is follow your throw. So if I'm the person who receives the ball at 2nd base and I'm running at that runner at 3rd, I'm going to release the ball, throw it, and I'm going to get out of the baseline, whichever direction the runner is not. I'm going to get out of the baseline and I'm going to fill in at 3rd. So always go to that bag that you throw to so you have enough people in line if you have this rundown in more than 2 throws. And this is going to look like full speed.